trust EDG and Kingzone is that EDG were facing a very fundamentally solid drafting team that just wanted to play a macro style. Meanwhile, Rogue Warriors are going to have to roll the dice. I know Kingzone just wants to play this one super standard and take very little risk, so that's why I'm waiting for Rogue Warriors to show us something crazy, something new.
Well, here we are into Champion Select already. Most of the bans have come through. Swain, Aatrox, and Zoe are going to be the first bans on the blue side as Talia Nocturne. Understandable LCK bans to come in, the final one to round it out in a couple of seconds. And it will be the Camille. So a lot available, especially in that support position, and the jungle is Sejuani considered by Rogue Warriors.
And if you want something crazy, something new, the guy who you need to look at for Rogue Warriors, if you haven't heard of them, is going to be Doinby in that mid lane. He's known for playing bruisers, things like the Aatrox that's been banned away, but also
and
things
Kled.
like the Kled.
Honestly, I was hoping for something old and something new. Where's my flawless Lee Sin at? This was supposed to be the game that we saw some playmaking, but sadly, power pick on the Sejuani.
I think it tells me that it's going to be Talon in the mid lane again, or at least something that, again, is going to have river priority, because when you take the Sejuani, it's all about the Scuttle Crabs, it's all about the early skirmishes, so I expect Doinby to go back towards a bruiser, Darius, Talon, things like that.
And yesterday, we saw Kingzone ditch the funnel comp, and you do notice here that Xayah Rakan is open, and they ditch it again as far as we can see. Could still opt into a Rakan or a Xayah here to try to put the headaches in, but Xayah Rakan may actually avoid the same sort of priority, and it may in fact be BDD in the bot lane or even just Prey piloting the Morgana.
Yeah, we don't know what that Morgana is going to do. If we look back in time just a little bit, the Kai'Sa Morgana is certainly something that Kingzone have used to great effect, but Kled being hovered over the other side.
Just a straight blind pick would be pretty insane.
Hold on, before we get excited about the Kled, I do want to talk about the Skarner and the Morgana. I love these two pickups into Rogue Warriors, because Rogue Warriors are so much about their bottom lane. Like Edward Gaming, they like to stack everyone down there and get SMLZ riding. He's the primary cannon point, and when you have Morgana and Skarner, you place the black shield, Skarner rotates down, and it becomes very easy to dive that bottom lane tower. So,
oh boy,
okay.
I already feel that Kingzone have a very good read on what Rogue Warriors want.
Do Rogue Warriors have a great read on what Rogue Warriors want?
I don't know. Where is the Karthus going?
Because they recognize that there's dive potential. It's going into SMLZ's hands. They've done this exact same composition before, and now you see, okay, you have Skarner, Morgana, you could attempt to dive the bottom lane, which is where we like to do and where we like to play. I'm a Karthus. Come at me. I have lane priority, and then likewise, if you dive me, you're not getting out alive.
I like the Anivia choice here. It's no flexibility about it, but you already know the enemy team is going to have a lot of Bruce, a lot of short to mid-range champions, and the wall value here can be insane. Put down a wall, Skarner ult someone, there's no helping him out. He's done.
You can also really separate Kled from the rest of his team and screw him over.
Also, you don't die to a Requiem just randomly off the back of it because you've got the egg available to you as well. I like that option.
I do think the Karthus bot lane, now that you mentioned, I did catch that game, is a really good pick into Morgana bot lane if we do see it, because Morgana Black Shield gets basically no value. Maybe you can walk through the wall, but otherwise, one of the Skittles, one of the lay wastes is going to pop it.
Yeah.
So already a lot happening here. Definitely the sort of disarray we wanted to see from Rogue Warriors. Playing straight up standard against Kingzone wasn't necessarily going to be the best way forward.
And now what Rogue Warriors are looking to stack on is grabbing things like the Initiation, which is why I'm happy that Kingzone denies something like the Ornn. Now that said, Alistar is still up and available.
Rakan.
It's a comfort pick as well as the Rakan. I think you have to take away one of those two, and they actually go sideways.
Yeah, and Shen also available as well. You could have that Kingzone bottom lane of the Shen Morgana as just nullifying that of the Karthus, as Mundo being considered and locked in instantly from Khan. His most played in the LCK, but not that carried style top laner that you'd expect. Oh goodness, Mouse thinking of taking the Pirate into it.
How many orbital strikes can they have?
That's a lot of press R, and people are gonna die no matter what.
I like to say,
they're gonna lock it in.
Venn diagrams.
Think about how fast the Karthus runs when you've got charge as well.
It's the Mazda
That's going to be silly.
Well, the wall could get some insane value in this game. As we're rolling in Rogue Warriors, they want to do one for China, initiate and fight. There's a lot of options here for where Kingzone want to go. They can just make it a Morgana support and take a marksman. Let's see the way they read this.
10 seconds to go, still considering this final pick. They know the craziness that's coming out from Rogue Warriors. I still personally don't know where everything is going apart from Siswani in the jungle, but that is going to be the Lucian for Prey, picking it away from SMLZ, but SMLZ's off that train. That's a Karthus Karma on the bottom side of the map.
I was going to say, it's SMLZ's Karthus. Rogue Warriors have run this composition 100 times. This is their heart and soul. This is LPL on the line, and they're not going to chicken out. They're not going to play standard. They're throwing down the gauntlet and said, we're going to play our style in front of our home crowd, and we're going to do LPL 1.
And what happened to Rogue Warriors when they lost against KT? They picked a Talon into a Galio in a horrendous matchup. The draft was botched. What they've done now, gone back to complete comfort. There's none of those glaring holes in the draft that we've looked at previously. Kingzone, on the other hand, exactly the same situation. There's no glaring holes in this draft either. It's standard League of Legends in an 8.13 kind of way.
Ah, yes, the standard League of Legends. Kled versus Anivia mid lane.
Yeah.
Standard as standard can be. Post 6, that's very painful for the Kled. Pre-6, it might actually be pretty decent as a farm lane, unless Skarner comes in very early.
Got a lot of animals in that lane. Old Skull running around there with Kled, but we'll see how Doinby is going to make it work. Attaching these bear traps on ropes to the Anivia could be hard because she floats a bit. But like you say, I think that the wall, it is a wall off between these two teams, given the Wall of Pain as well as the Crystallize. But I have a feeling the Anivia wall is going to be so important.
But we also have to expect that nothing should happen for the lane phase. It's still BDD that's piloting that Anivia. He's known for so much control in that lane phase. I expect this to still be about the side lane. So I'm looking at the Karthus lane and if that's going to expose itself, or how this Morgana Skarner are going to interact in the lane together, if Peanut is going to be that unleashed jungler that Kingzone needs.
There's a lot of kill pressure onto the Karthus. If a fracture hits and also we see a binding hit, you're probably dead as the Karthus. Like Smite as the summoner might be the choice here. So in general, there's a lot of options here for Peanut, even though usually we're talking about level 6 for the Skarner.
Yeah, and Prey and Gorilla once again going to be trying their hand at this powerful bottom lane. Gorilla with Morgana has been so incredibly successful. There's a large reason why they managed to take home the LCK trophy earlier on. But ladies and gentlemen, this could be our final game of the day. Game number 4, Rogue Warriors versus Kingzone DragonX. Kingzone desperate for redemption on the Rift Rivals stage and looking for it against the LPL.
And speaking of redemption, Rogue Warriors are known as the revenge team in the LPL. There are a lot of big names on this roster: Doinby, Flawless, SMLZ, Mouse. They all left established organizations to come together, make their revenge tour, beat out all of their old former orgs, and secured their spot as the 3rd place team at Rift Rivals.
And there's a lot of fans of those traditional old orgs who are Rogue Warriors fans, at least for this best of one. A one-eyed crowd, if there's ever been one, as it should be for Rift Rivals, goes all around the 3 regions that play in this tournament.
Yep.
Looking at the keystones here, nothing really catches you out, although a lot of lane control for the Karma and the Karthus.
And this time out, we are going to see the Kleptomancy for the Gangplank on the top side. Understandable into the Mundo matchup, but just showing that Keen certainly on a different track when he played the Grasp of the Undying last time, and we've got BDD helping Peanut out with his Raptor start.
And I want to quickly funnel in on the spot lane. So you can see that Flawless is starting top side. It allows SMLZ and Fluid to get priority into this lane. It's Smite Karthus, and with Karma and Karthus, all they want to do is they want to poke and they want to push. So it's the difference between poke and push pressure versus kill pressure, because if any of these Dark Bindings land, Prey can be absolutely devastating once he's level 3.
And the value of the Smite in lane actually is to smite away the cannon creep, which the one creep it takes a while for the lay waste to actually power through. So you puncture through it with the Smite, and otherwise you're able to just shove in, and Karma does a lot of help on the shove as well.
Also gives you the opportunity to build the Runic Echoes, which is so incredibly strong on this patch as well.
More gold efficient than Warrior for the first time in the history of those 2 items, which is as much ability power as it's laid onto it.
Yeah. So SMLZ easily shoves this wave forward. Not exactly that much of a CS advantage as Gorilla takes a Mantrid Q, which hurts a whole lot, and the crowd goes wild.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that Prey and SMLZ have almost been playing for the same amount of time, but Prey obviously...
Oh, flash already out of SMLZ. That is a huge deal, as Peanut not going to have anyone take away this Rift Scuttler from him.
Pretty greedy. It was very predictable because when you're putting everything into pushing the lane, it makes a lot of sense to contest the Scuttle. But it wasn't a flash from Gorilla, it's just straight up binding. That had to be flashed away, and Scuttle Crab control does go the way of Peanut.
I was just going to say, probably one of the reasons why SMLZ hasn't gotten to poke his head out too many times internationally. Did make an appearance last Rift Rivals on the OMG squad, but he's been hidden away, moved around from a couple of teams, and really never got his chance to shine when he was supposed to be the next coming of Wei Xiao.
I want to zero in on a small point about how this game is being played. At level 1, you saw that the Raptors were taken with a bit of a leash coming through from the Q, from the Anivia. The reason that all happened was to set up Skarner against that Scuttle bot lane and spray face checks.
Yeah, he face checks Flawless, is going to try and get him with the Winter's Wrath, but doesn't get there. Prey, able to get himself out with the Relentless Pursuit. Not pursuing this time, is going to escape.
Had to get too excited for the explanation, but got the leash so he could take Raptors and red, then be in position to take the Scuttle bot side. Getting Scuttle relieves a lot of pressure from your bot lane, and you need that extra speed from the leash to actually get there in time.
It's just a beautiful read on the map of exactly what Karthus and Karma wanted to do to even out any sort of footing that Rogue Warriors initially got into the lane phase. So excellent job from Peanut, and this is what we expect from such a world-class jungler.
You see Prey taking a fair bit of damage, as Kalura and SMLZ certainly have a lot of poke availability down here, but it's not deterring him from farming things up. Did take Doran's shield just to make sure that he could survive for as long as possible, but now Khan up here is going to have a pretty rough time trying to punish the Gangplank pickup that we've seen be so successful so far here at Rift Rivals.
It's almost the only champion that Mouse has been successful on as well. It's a huge comfort pick for him. A lot of the reason why Rogue Warriors made their big rise in the LPL is because no one ever contested Mouse. We don't have the same caliber of top laners in the LPL that someone like the LCK does, so he was able to repeatedly find this pick, kind of coast through lane phase, and just be that utility top laner that they needed him to be.
Definitely not underselling that point at all. He's played so much.
It's his number one.
By a country mile. He's 7-1. Mundo has been able to play almost every game, the GP, and his lifetime. Like you say, being able to be very one-note with his picks. Doesn't get the Mundo this time, but equally as comfortable in the GP.
And it just speaks to the strength of his other laners, the fact that bans are leveraged towards SMLZ, towards Doinby, which is why Doinby's had to make such a bizarre champion pool.
That just seems to be Doinby.
I have a feeling that that's just Doinby. Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of champions that he could have played in that mid lane. I mean, Galio wasn't even looked at this game.
It was a first round blind cleanse. So
yeah,
the boy knew what he wanted.
Yeah, exactly. He went to the toy shop and then went to the very back of the toy shop and bought the weird abacus looking thing.
Oh no, not the
when
abacus.
There was really cool Lego at the front.
Are you sure this isn't the monkey with the clapping?
Oh, yeah, maybe it's that. I have a feeling that's probably it.
Clapping monkey.
Yeah.
See?
Thanks,
Frosco
Frosco.
ahead of
This
Atlas
is
on the analogy game.
Yeah, this is why she's the LPL girl.
She's had to see Doinby up close for a long time. A lot of people go blind for Frosco, and she's prospered.
Yeah, she certainly has. Well, Peanut, he's going to challenge for his Grump. Flawless comes in. Ooh, gets impatient, but does end up bouncing back towards his grotto. Would you call it a grotto? The Grump grotto?
I just call it a frog.
No, as in the place where he is. I've never described where the Gromp is.
I mean, he's not a mermaid, so.
I like it. I'm going to use Gromp Grotto from now on, whether you like it or not.
I like how I said
so
no.
dirty.
It sounds weird. No, I don't know. I mean, it rhymes. I like alliteration.
If I was invited to someone's grotto, I would not attend. RSVP no on that one.
Even if it's mine?
No, not coming to your grotto.
Who owns a grotto?
Can't I just go to the coffee shop near your grotto? Much, much better.
It's like owning a Billabong. Doesn't make sense.
Well, right now, not a lot owned in the mid lane by Kingzone. We're still waiting for BDD to get over the first item purchase in level 6 to actually do trades, because Doinby just winning in CS because Anivia pre-6. Not the same proposition for the melee bruiser.
Yeah, certainly going to be able to get things done now that the Glacial Storm has been leveled up. Haven't hit that, and I have a feeling this lane is going to turn a very different direction, given now the shove advantage is in favor over the Bird.
And a lot of people will look at the Kled pick and they'll just wonder what the hell is happening. Why is this being picked up? We've talked pretty extensively to Doinby about this, and the reality is he just likes the pick. He personally believes that it's actually just strong. He's blind picked it 3 times in the LPL. He don't care about any matchup that you've got, and he plays about 16 hours a day. So I'm just going to trust the Kled random guy in the mid lane.
All right, I like it. Sounds like
that's the best analysis
logic.
I got.
Sounds like Dade logic. Of course, SMLZ played with him on Masters 3, so I can see how the synergy would work. Got so many players from so many different teams over the years.
Even I had forgotten that one, but maybe I just chose to forget it.
It's probably a good idea there for Oscarin.
Kingzone pushing for the first time in bot lane. They've got a group minion wave in. Got this flash up, but the control is there for Kingzone on the bot side. So game definitely slowing down. Could say that Rogue Warriors will take a slow game. If they can roll in with their first charge and make something big happen, that could be huge. And speaking of rolling in.
Speaking of first charge as well, we've got Sejuani getting caught out. It's a really nice use of the stopwatch and the cannon barrage, but the Dragon may just finish this one off. Oh no, he misses it. There's no flash, and Prey flashes forward to try and pick this one up, but Requiem and everything else trying to do work on top of him. Has himself the blast cone, can get himself out, and Rogue Warriors, they can't even answer back, and poor little Scarl's gonna run away.
Beautifully executed by Kingzone, however. Everyone makes it out virtually alive. What, did anyone go down there?
1 for 0.
Not on the side of Kingzone, yeah.
Crisp.
The wall was actually to try to bug him out of the getting over the wall with the Q. So that was actually intentional from BDD, waiting on that. Able to stop that. Claim the kill on the Sejuani. No Drake off the back of it. BD cleans up a blue buff, and nice little advantage to Kingzone DragonX.
Yeah, and Prey picking up the makings of his Blade of the Ruined King very early in this game as well. Has farmed quite nicely as Peanut. He's booking it towards the bottom lane. SMLZ does have flash, but Wall of Pain's going to do absolutely nothing. Peanut soaking damage now, still looking for more fracture. He's going to land. Killer is going to fall, but finally, the first kill for Rogue Warriors does come in, and now Flawless trying to make his mark, but BDD's roam was too good.
Some indecision and maybe some imperfect vision from Kingzone. You saw the hesitation from Frey, not sure if he should step forward, if she can continue to chase. I think they may have given up a free kill on Karthus, but still well ahead in this game.
Waiting to see if BDD would take the most risky way to get back into the mid lane and be cut off was Doinby, but doesn't find the Anivia. No bird of prey for him. Goes back to pushing mid lane. Still a slight CS lead there.
And BDD probably going to even this one out as the game goes on. Just all too easy to pick up all of the creeps. That Glacial Storm, Khan having a great time here towards the top side, but Mouse also just wanting to scale up alongside him. It's always really scary when you're in these let's just both scale agreement matchups, and one of them's a gangplank.
Thanks for the leash.
Yeah, cheers for that one,
The
says
team,
Peanut.
Kingzone have been really on the front foot for getting these scuttles onto Peanut. Hasn't been just him. They've been trying to push up and rotate. We saw the bot lane rotation with the dark binding from Morgana. We've seen now 3 times they tried to help him with the scuttle control, knowing the more early information you have on a shenanigans comp, the better.
Shenanigans comp. I like that.
I just love the read that Kingzone have in general to prioritize the bot lane and attempt to punish there. Yes, a lot of it devolved because it started with Peanut catching out Flawless, knowing that the flashes were down, but then immediately reading the situation. And domestically, what I love about Kingzone is how from minute to minute their game plan can change, and because they are so powerful across the map in every single position, they are so flexible in how they attack you. They pick when and where they beat you with all of their stars.
Observation domestically is you look at a draft and say, oh, I think this is what they're trying to do, and then they do it in an even better way than you could have said as an analyst, and that's always been the surprise. But somewhere along the line, either draft or execution, they've fallen apart again and again on the world stage. That's why we have to be surprised when people who only watch the LCK would say, oh, it's just the Kingzone we know.
Well, Prey's going to throw down the ultimate as Cannon Barrage underneath the turret. They still want this as SMLZ has to go golden, and that's going to get the defile damage right in there. He's even surviving with the shield. Good God, Rogue Warriors. That was a beautiful dive.
And in the opposite corner, you have Rogue Warriors who only do one thing, but they do it very well. They love to dive bottom. They love to play around SMLZ. All of their compositions fit the same mentality. So not the same flexibility that Kingzone have where they can play through Khan, they can play through Prey, but they'll always make the play through SMLZ work.
I love the teleport onto the minion to stop a freeze and try to rush this one down.
Well, they're not actually going to do it. I thought that maybe they could even race that teleport to try and get that damage in there, but they decide not to. Khan going to stop it as BDD doesn't have teleport, but does have some damage availability onto this outer turret in the mid lane. Let's have a look at this one again. Prey, he felt like he could try and grab a kill, but good God, SMLZ, I don't know how he survived for so long.
And the dive timing is perfect. There's no summoners on Prey or Gorilla for this one. No flash, not even a teleport to get back to lane. That's why Khan had to teleport bot. Execution perfect. They clearly have plenty of practice on the Kled bot lane turret dives.
And you have to think one of the strengths that Kled has is his ability to tower dive because he does have access to Skarl, and it is something that they love to do over and over again. If they don't get the Kled, they like to use the Skarner and the Morgana combo themselves so they can isolate targets and make a 2v2 dive a 2v1 dive.
Karthus gangplank, if that was a mid and top lane, is already let's dive bot lane, and we have two different globals to send their way. Same story here with the Karthus being piloted in the bot lane, so just a reality you have to respect for Kingzone. Turret is low, and they'd love to take down Doinby.
Well, Predator Peanut is going to run forward with that black shield on him, and that's going to mean there's nothing that Doinby can do. Jumps off Skull, but see you later, Kled. You are well and truly dead. Khan gets out from underneath the turret as well with the sadism.
I like the mind games that he's at least playing, and Kingzone securing the mid lane tower with it. Great rotation from them, but he could have flashed.
I don't think he flashes to safety there. I think he gets follow flashed. Peanut and everyone on Kingzone at that point had their flashes up, and they were going to rotate first. You're right. I think most people's first reaction would be to flash, but in that case, I don't think it was going to be the flash of light.
Yeah. Well, it is going to mean the Rift Scuttler and the Dragon should be going down here for Kingzone. However, Mouse is going to get a lot of damage onto this outer turret top, as well as that outer turret falling on the bottom side of the map. Remember, first turret gold did go over to the LCK, however, still behind, about 200 gold against the Rogue Warriors. Kleptomancy on the side of Mouse, certainly skewing that one in their favor, and he's got a couple of assists as well.
2 turrets, free farm. Okay, the turret doesn't quite fall, but close to 2 turrets, free farm on the GP, and the Rift Herald should be claimed. It was at least started by the Sejuani. Means there's still quite a lot claimed by Rogue Warriors, so it wasn't a one-note trade like it looked like it was going to be for the LCK.
Yeah, and like you say, here's Shelly falling down. Doinby going to pick that one up now as well, as it's a very late ward over the side of Gorilla. He's going to head back towards the mid lane. Okay, Rogue Warriors, it seems like this plan is working. Is it working, Frost?
I mean, the mentality right now is they just stall out long enough that Karthus can get massive amounts of farm and just have kill pressure without doing anything. All he has to do is find his R button, and there's not a lot of options that someone like Prey has available to him. So I still like the flexibility from Kingzone's composition that they can attack things differently, but ultimately, Rogue Warriors have been in this situation a million times. They can separate all their pieces. They've got the Rift Herald on Doinby to help him speed up his mobility, not just in his back timers, but the fact that he can play a side lane and then charge into team fights if they want to play a triangle on the map. But otherwise, they're just going to be picking up the farm on the GP, the Karthus, and the Kled, and waiting this one out.
One of the happy things for Kingzone is because it's double physical lanes, you feel even better about rushing Sunfire as the Mundo, because you can try to face down the Kled. He won't be able to kill you fast enough, even though there is the potential always for Kled to all in. Kled between 2 big items. I imagine Black Cleaver and the Titanic Hydra, but you always have different options there. So Mundo, he can hit the side lanes. Kingzone can try to make their duo lane stick, try to deny away some free farm time from the Karthus. The next move from Kingzone is the most interesting one. We're still too early to be talking about things like starting a Baron and using the wall to try to guarantee it.
Yeah, and the Rift Herald still being held onto here by Doinby, and like you say, Baron not going to be available for another 4 or so minutes. And at that point in time, I think that Baron's almost impossible for Kingzone to start, because you're standing in a round circle about the size of a cannon barrage.
But I do like the fact that they have a wealth of options in terms of who they attack on this map. I mean, they have kill pressure on pretty much all of Rogue Warriors' champions, and now it's a matter of, do you team up with your duo in the top side, try to grab the Karthus? Do maybe you look to punish this Gangplank into a Mundo matchup? Even Doinby is not immune to this.
Well, Khan has to use his ultimate here against Mouse, giving him a lot of respect as cannons are traded. The Gangplank's going to have about half health as he moves up towards the river. Now topside, it's still Kingzone trying to lock down this outer turret. Mid lane outer was the first one to fall down, so they've got 2 outers that they can use here. Kingzone well and truly split along this map. Teleport about to come up.
I think Doinby might be forced. No, he's going to hold it. He might have been forced to use the Rift Herald there, which is why BDD then shadowed back towards the mid lane, because they felt that it was a threat, that if they showed too many members topside, that Doinby would immediately look to try to take down mid tower.
Well, Kahlua not going to be able to find too much of a slow there with the Mantrid Q. And the Black Shield going to help Prey get to safety, as we've got upside down lanes to ensue.
Might have to use Rift Herald very soon. It's very, very low in terms of the timer here.
It's going to be a very suboptimal Rift Herald. Again, its purpose really was to help speed up the ability and access to farm through all their 3 carries.
Doinby, we'll see whether he puts it down here.
He will.
Yep, there it goes. No one's going to spot him, so still a chance for this Shelly to grab herself some work in the mid lane, as Teleport's going to be used in response. BDD wanting to stop her, not going to be able to charge.
That's not how it works, BDD.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a wall should have probably stopped her, but that's not how it happens. You can freak her out before she starts her charge, but unfortunately, once she's got the idea into her head, there's no way you can stop.
Situationally unflappable.
Yeah, that's true. She's just a stubborn lass, the old Shelly. Wants to get her charging done.
What's her full name?
Sheridan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I saw her birth certificate.
Yeah.
Who's the dad?
Papa.
I can't reveal that information.
That's the reason why I saw the birth certificate, guys. It's not hard to do 1+1. As Prey and Gorilla now searching for some farm, and Rogue Warriors searching for some more dead Lucian on the top side of the map. He has been the focus of this team, but it's 3-3 in kills. And the LCK representatives are only a few hundred gold ahead of Rogue Warriors.
And frankly, both teams at this point probably feeling pretty fine in comms. You wasted the Rift Herald. They didn't really get anything, just a large amount of damage, but none of the towers fall. Rogue Warriors are sitting back. They're saying, okay, we're still getting all of the gold that we want. The LCK sitting back and saying, okay, they didn't take any structures, so gentleman's agreement until mid-game, I guess.
Yeah, well, we'll see whether the Baron is going to bring everyone out of their shells, respectively. Gangplank looking to go home. We'll see whether that does mean that Steric's Gauge is available here for Mouse. Certainly an opportunity for them to start a potential fight as Fracture is going to land. And Peanut, thinking about heading forward, just steals away the Rift Scuttler, and that's all too easy. And these little advantages when the game is so close are actually important, as Flawless is going to use the Arctic Assault to get himself over here, but can't see what this Sentinel is doing. It's a good smite, and Flawless is going to be able to lock that one in as charge was invested just to try and get the steal.
And that was all about trying to deny blue buff from an Anivia. We know all about Anivia being mana hungry, the Season 2 Froggen games. Told us all about that. But the answer play from Prey, he's in top side, no teleport, but able to take down the turret very easily.
And these small advantages are going to grow and become much larger ones. This is what I'm talking about. It's a perfect example of Rogue Warriors as a team. They're the hammer of the LPL. They try to force plays, and all they know how to do is hit the nails. There's not a lot of finesse there. It's press the ultimate, force the fight, try to put them on the back foot, but it leaves them exposed to better understanding macro teams like Kingzone.
And you get to skip steps, and you can also prosper with the Anivia, because we've seen Anivia wall basically be Taliyah wall when it comes to Baron. 4 points in the wall right now. It's 2 points Q, maxing E, of course, first, and then 5 points in the W. That's when the Baron plays can start to be considered. It's not quite a Rage Blade the Ruin King carry, but it is a the Ruin King 80 carry, and that extra 5 seconds of safety from an enemy team that is only bruisers and very short-range champions means that Baron needs to be respected from this moment onwards by Rogue Warriors.
Yeah, it's one hell of a low cooldown Weaver's wall, Papa Smithy. But BDD will have to look to him to see whether he can deny the charge from Doinby. As SMLZ, it's a wall against wall. And it seems like BDD's one's a bit better.
I mean, SMLZ walked away pretty happy.
That's true. I guess neither of them. It shouldn't have compared. It wasn't really a comparison. It was like, here's my wall, here's my wall. They're about the same.
It's not the size of your wall, it's how you use it.
It's about whether you can walk through it or not. Mine's icier than yours.
It's true.
It's often what I talk about when I'm talking about wall comparison. Haven't done very much of it. It's Mouse and Khan. We'll face off. This is pretty boring, but Khan often gets solo kills out of nowhere as Mundo.
He's had some Mundo games. We counted 16 turret shots one time.
Yeah.
That he consecutively tanked.
I like how most casters use the word interesting Mundo games, but you just went for some. Like,
Yeah.
where on the scale? Is it interesting and then some, or some better than interesting?
You know, it's fluid.
It's Mundo.
When you cast 6 days a week, all your language is fluid.
It's like describing Raz, you know? You can only say that he's Raz.
That's true.
And Mundo, you can only say that he's Mundo.
And a Free Farm Mundo has a bit of a nebulous role in team fights. I guess he's zoning GP.
I guess he's
But
standing
when in
underneath the
1v1s
turret once again, straight up not caring about these barrels, as Khan does have the ultimate running now, and there is no denial of the heal available for the Gangplank, so that was almost very close.
It wasn't 16, but he did make it to 8.
Good.
But also managed to get the Cannon Barrage, which is much more important than the Sadism being on cooldown. Despite that, Doinby is going to be able to grab this top outer turret, and it just seems like little advantages traded one after the other for both teams, and now we've got it tiptoeing over to the side of a gold lead for Rogue Warriors.
And we're coming down into another game where it's going to come down to execution in the team fights, execution about how you prepare your map, rather than just the two compositions facing off from each other. Because everyone seems perfectly fine to just gather the farm where they want and just wait this one out until both the teams are forced to clash over the Baron.
One thing that's very impressive is the amount of control wards around the Baron pit for the Rogue Warriors. You mentioned them being the hammer. Well, when you see the hammer putting down vision control, Certainly makes you feel a little bit better as a fan of the Hammer team, like most of the people in this arena right now.
They're like a nice hammer. You paid a lot. It's not
like
a
one of the
rock.
really good hammers.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's not like a rock and a stick where you just...
Okay, I was normally the guy that just goes to Bunnings and buys whatever hammer that there is. And Khan, he's struggling, gonna flash to get himself completely out of there. Will do so very easily. That was after the charge as well, and actually thought that he could just walk over here. Gorilla's gonna turn up as now Black Shield gonna try and help Khan out. He's looking to turn this and does now have the ultimate back off cooldown. Ignite going to be used. Gorilla, there's not a lot of places he can go, and the charge is gonna pick that one up all too easily. B2D turning up a little bit late, and Peanut, he's running so damn fast as Mouse cannot get out. That flash was hella bad from Mouse, and now Khan trying to take on Doinby, but he just straight up can't do it. The stopwatch is there. Doinby, can he survive? It's Peanut. The fracture was so good, but not enough. And this Kled, you can see why he blind picks it, even if he may now die to a turret. Still, not a lot has happened just yet as far as that is concerned, and P2D now having to hold on to his turret. What the hell is going on? Peanut finally finds the kill, but it's such a ruckus and the outer turret goes down.
Super carry Doinby shows his face right there and showcases why he loves the Kled. He is just so confident on the champion. He's put in so many hours, and he stalls out long enough that Rogue Warriors actually get something on the map.
Exactly. He knows his limits better than the enemy team has any idea about his limits. And the team prospers. Doinby just says, I'm buying time, I'm going to kill the Mundo. And in the meantime, like you say, a proactive map movement means overall advantage Rogue Warriors.
The reality of the situation, though, is I don't know what the comms are like, but I feel like it's I have no idea what I'm doing, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Like, I'm putting my face into the Mundo, look.
Charge! Because that's just what it looks like when you face Rogue Warriors. Look at this team fight.
You need to remember, the edge of madness and also genius is a razor-sharp one. If you win, it's genius.
This is straight up animal style. Why is he there?
I feel like Mouse really didn't have a great fight in this particular moment, but somehow Doinby just having a complete party on the back end.
Speaking of parties, there seems to be stuff happening in the minimap.
There's certainly a lot of Kingzone members hanging around towards the top side of Rogue Warriors jungle. Just going to grab all of that Baron vision here at 25 minutes in, and they've got a hell of a lot of it. Control wards everywhere, regular vision wards everywhere, but Mouse, he's the one putting on pressure. Teleport's available for both top laners, but Mouse is the one that's able to shove this wave right underneath this turret, get the pressure on, open up the map for Rogue Warriors to fight back for vision.
I feel like Kingzone are going to have to get dirty.
Okay, speaking of fighting back, Kahlua in potential trouble, but does flash himself to safety. Kahlua actually saving him. The flash from Peanut just bypasses the Kled as Kahlua trying to run away. The fracture's going to land, and that's the kill picked up for BDD.
After used a flash from Peanut, but they already had the Baron vision earlier. This will probably be the start of the objective. Kingzone turn on it. The Scuttlecrab vision has timed out as well.
Great ward that spots out Flawless. You see the immediate response from Kingzone, making sure that they're sweeping around the Baron area and now setting up a trap.
What we're looking at is the fact that Cannon Barrage and Requiem both available here as Flawless pokes his head out. Feel like I've seen this on a nature documentary. He does manage to make his way out. That's the fadeaway jump shot with the ultimate, but certainly a button that Kingzone wanted pressed.
Means there will be no Baron picked up here for Kingzone. They will disengage. They had the extra information and couldn't get the jump scare kill onto Flawless. Doinby's bot lane hunting for another Mundo to add to his collection.
Yep, but Khan not going to have any of it. Just going to exit out of this fight. Executioner's Calling has been picked up now from Mouse, so Khan probably not going to as freely spend time underneath turrets anymore, and Rogue Warriors looking for this Cloud Drake.
And what we should be doing for Kingzone right now is they just want to retain the control over the Baron in terms of vision, wait for Peanut's flash, wait for Peanut's ultimate, and then try to set the tables again for another pick. They've got the Morgana, they have the Anivia wall, they just need the Skarner. So it's a pretty clear-cut plan, especially because Khan doesn't want to be left alone in a side lane with Doinby hunting around and roaming for him, but that means that Rogue Warriors know exactly what Kingzone's game plan is, and it's a question about how they counter that.
And the teamfight execution for Kingzone's more narrow than it might appear when you say traditional AD carry comp versus a bruiser comp. I think actually Rogue Warriors find it easier fighting front to back than Kingzone do, because actually killing someone with this Lucian build takes a long time. The front line is insanely tanky, and Gangplank and Karthus assisting Doinby diving in, and only Mundo as a real frontliner means it's pretty narrow for Kingzone on execution.
I mean, to be frank, Kingzone are used to the finesse of a boxing match. You know, two big heavyweights going back and forth, trading blows. Well, welcome to the Jello pit, because Rogue Warriors are going to grab you, they're going to pull you down, and we're going to roll around in the dirt.
Well, they're trying to do it. Flawless now all on his own. Cannon Barrage invested very early as Flawless getting taken so low by Prey. Does get taken down. The Kled's in there, and look at the AoE. Kingzone having to flash all over this map. Peanut just buying time, not wanting to get ace, but Kingzone's carries cannot do anything in the front line apart from BDD taking down the Sejuani. But now SMLZ almost destroys Gorilla, but doesn't quite get there, and Khan struggling to fall.
BDD was able to DPS 3 health bars to almost 0 with just the ultimate on the back end. Crucially, they get the Sejuani. That should have been a free Baron to Rogue Warriors after Prey dashed into melee range of a free farmed Kled.
Saved the day, held the defense, and it means that they're able to get back in position. But the one thing that Kingzone do lose is all of the vision control around the Baron, and that is so fundamental to their composition. You talked about their narrow team fight windows. It is very dependent on making sure that they have vision control of an area.
This was just a really big mistake by Prey when we watched the replay. It just chases too far into a Sejuani. Meanwhile, the Doinby Kled just in his face kills him so easily, and he's really almost all of the damage they have unless the enemy is just forced into that choke and Anivia can prosper. That's much more situational than a ranged AD carry auto attack.
I think it comes down to what you were talking about before as well, Papa. It looked like he just thought that he would be able to get this kill onto Flawless because he was free hitting for so long around the Crystallize.
But his build is so low damage, and he thinks, I'll just go in and get a fast kill. They don't. We're into the replay, but we're out of the replay fast. No pick is actually claimed. But as you can see, the posturing is real. Yeah,
and even our observers certainly being kept on their toes as far as when these fights are going to happen. SMLZ going to grab the blue buff. Certainly great news for a Karthus player.
And exactly, that's what the security blanket is for Rogue Warriors. It's SMLZ on the Karthus pick. You saw the massive amount of damage that took Gorilla down to a sliver of his health bar. He's the ace in the pocket. If this game goes late enough, he's just going to press R, and everyone on Kingzone are going to blow up.
Well, we'll see whether Khan can be the ace in the pocket of Kingzone, because this Mundo will certainly be able to go where he pleases as this game gets further and further in. He's already got 3 items built up with the Spirit Visage. It gets quite scary.
For me, it's all about not just Khan, but also BDD. Their ability to control the battlefield just through the control that Anivia has on her kit through all of her CC, and then Mundo's ability to zone people out because he can just walk in front and soak a lot of damage.
To me, it's a really important item timing. I think Infinity Edge on Lucian is so needed. This build does almost no damage to the front line of GP, Sejuani, Kled. You don't kill anyone fast enough, and we already saw that if you sacrifice your positioning to get that end of the kill, that's going to be a problem. They need Lucian to be able to have threat on the people diving in one by one. They need to be able to Skarner ultimate and actually kill that person. Right now, they can't.
Yeah, and that's 3,600 gold away as well. He goes back, completes the Ninja Tabi. He's got 3 control wards in his back pocket, but that was all he managed to pick up. It's still going to be the same amount of damage here from the Lucian for quite some time. He might even forego the Infinity Edge because he feels like he needs something like the QSS, something like the Guardian Angel for some more defense.
Then the fight is so long that I think Kled's remounting 3 times. The GP and the Karthus are doing consistent damage. I think they straight lose. I think more Malmortius would also be too far indexing on defense. He needs damage, and Rogue Warriors, they're definitely smelling that this game is certainly still a possible win.
Well, it looks like Kingzone are considering moving towards the Baron right now. It's the back that was the decision from Khan, not wanting to make the same mistake that SKT did. But based on that, it is going to be Rogue Warriors grabbing all of that vision control back in this Baron area. Kled now going home, not going to be pushing too much further. If we have a look down at the scorelines, 3-0-0 for the Anivia certainly is going to be where the Kingzone fans are going to be looking towards. BDD wanting to have a better performance. He didn't look fantastic on the Talia when we saw him a few days ago, but now on the Anivia, one of the picks that he has found a lot of success on. See whether this can turn the tides of the fight, but Doinby, the mid laners, is certainly the story. 4-2-2 now on this Kled.
I just feel like this game is one mistake away from cracking open to other side.
Great.
Obviously, we're all poised around the Baron, but it's about who's going to move together better. Right now, you see that Rogue Warriors have opted into this idea of a 1-4. They've kicked Doinby out to the side lane, and they're just trying to flush Kingzone out of the jungle, then move in and start trading this tug of war back and forth around Baron. But the thing about Rogue Warriors' composition is I feel like they're much more confident in their late game scaling because of the Karthus. So the longer that we sit in this position where it's just a ping pong back and forth around the Baron vision, the better I feel for Rogue Warriors versus Kingzone. I think the pressure is starting to get to them.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think the Gangplank as well is putting on a lot of pressure. Look at those barrels, just obliterating these minion waves. As Rogue Warriors looking for this fight, Khan has to be the one to walk in first. They do have vision available. Mantrid Inspire is going to mean that Rogue Warriors always going to be very, very fine. All of the movement speed availability from this team is huge as Mountain Drake being looked at here from Kingzone. Dark Binding is going to find a target, but may not be the one that they wanted as Flawless. Gets himself into the pit. Peanut's going to lock that one down as now the fight is coming in. Doinby jumps into the backline. It's 1 versus 3, but good God, the AoE damage Requiem is going to tear the Lucian apart. Now BDD having to flash his way out, but he's just an egg. He's an omelet now as Rogue Warriors looking to send us to game 5.
And the hammer comes down swinging. Doinby steps forward, has the teleport, is chasing Peanut down. They've got the creep wave. They have the crowd behind them. We're going to game 5.
We're looking for these turrets. Of course, there's still 2 members of Kingzone here. It's not all over just yet, but damn, this is the break that we were looking at. Inhibitor going to go down. The
Charge!
base
Keep
is
going!
broken. They're looking for Khan underneath these turrets. The barrels are taking him down. They're just focusing these Nexus turrets. Peanut being annoying, but they're ignoring him. Gorilla moves his way forward. Is going to be able to not do anything. The Nexus, it's going to erupt, and Rogue Warriors are going to bring us to game number 5, Rift Rivals 2018.
Well-deserved win as the crowd goes insane in Dalian, China. Once again, Kingzone, they don't respect the Kled. He gets backline access, nothing out of prey, and look at Doinby stand up and cheer.
Absolutely deserved cheers, as you can see. BDD, he had a great game. The Anivia looked good. But it's that man on your screen right there, picking up the home crowd victory on his famous Kled in the mid lane. And they drive it home. It's one team fight, and it's all over for Kingzone.
The front man of Rogue Warriors, Doinby knows how to play to the spotlight. He's been counted out so many times, moved to so many different teams, and the revenge team gets to taste it again. And boy, is it sweet in front of this crowd.
Yeah, you can see big smile on Mouse's face as well. He's elated. This Rogue Warriors squad, they got exactly the composition they were known for, and they played it flawlessly, no pun intended.
They knew their limits much more than their opponents knew the enemy's limits. I don't think Kingzone were ready for the mid lane Kled. Too often Prey was just getting assassinated in the back line while they didn't have the damage to do anything to the front line. The Karthus, like you mentioned, was just icing on the top of the cake, and it's a well-deserved victory. Kingzone choked once again.
And the best thing about this is we finally get the question of, in the LCK, who do they think the strongest team is? Over in the LPL, who do they think the strongest team is? Because game number 5 comes down to exactly that decision and who's going to be able to come out on top.
Let's be honest, we know that the baton has now been handed to RNG. Rogue Warriors turn to the crowd and they say, we did our job today, China. It's up to Uzi, the MSI champions.
And the Korean coaches at this moment coming to that final decision, as they would have seen the game slipping away from Kingzone. It's a tough one. I think KT and also Afrika have both done great auditions in different ways. We're seeing the Kingzone players in front of us walk off the stage. I think KT makes too much sense not to rely on. I think you have to go there because of their bot lane and because they've shown so much. If KT plays standard against RNG, we get such a treat of a game, but if Afrika, if everyone comes and says consensus them, it's going to be something special as well.
I mean, ultimately, it's about familiarity. You have Mata, who could potentially be the undoing of someone like MLXG and Uzi, these laners that he knows very well. Mata, you can still see his fingerprints on RNG to this day. He sculpted this team.
But while you say that, Froskuren, I don't think the LPL teams that Mada, Deft, and Friends left a couple of years ago are what we're seeing today. We're seeing the power of one language rosters. We're seeing the power of a couple of years, a big coming out party ever since Rift Rivals last year for the LPL. I think the KT matches up the best, but I'm so excited to see what we see for the final choice.
Well, it's going to be RNG versus Afrika for our final matchup.
That is a statement.
Afrika Freaks.
Big statement.
Yeah, going to be coming out first. Of course, they are the highest ranked in the LCK at the moment. You can understand that thought process.
I wish I had more to say, but instead we're actually going to toss it over to the analyst desk and get what their feedback is on this match.
Woo! Going to game 5, my dudes. RNG is back on the stage, but we got to celebrate Rogue Warriors. Super carry Doinby. The world has to know who this guy is.
X factors, just X factors throughout, and the Kled blind pick. So immediately from the global audience looking at this, just the pick and ban, and saying, "What the hell am I watching?" A first-round Karthus blind pick, as well as the Kled, and that's just them going towards comfort. What worked for them in the LPL, they're saying, "I don't care what we go up against. We are the team-fighting team, and that's how we're going to end this one."
And I have to say, but this draft from Kingzone was such a chicken draft. It basically was saying that we're going to counter whatever you do, and we're going to play so safe. But in the meantime, they threw away everything they were good at. Look at those 3 bans. They banned Flawless, who's been having a horrible split. Just because, I don't know, like Peanut gave the name Buffless to Flawless back in the LCK. Why are you afraid of him? They threw away the priority in the mid lane. They didn't have a late game scaling option either. That was on Rogue Warriors' side. They did have this walling type of comp where it was very hard for them to get into their backline, but that was it. I felt like Kingzone threw everything they were strong at just to counter someone like Rogue Warriors.
And I think my only criticism towards the drafting is just simply the range of Kingzone. Remember, they had the early game advantage. Last picking a Lucian into the Karthus, Kled, into the Sejuani as well. Just a lot of that is massive zone control with the GP. There's just it's so difficult as a AD carry in that entire game to really find an instance in which you can deal damage. So that's my biggest worry. You can kite back the Kled, that's no problem if you find yourself in a side lane, but the team fights are what's really struggling.
And that was exactly it. It seemed as though Kingzone had difficulty claiming momentum in this game against Rogue Warriors, who it was a very slow start to them claiming momentum. As you can see, the crowd is just erupting as it's officially announced the next matchup. But it all starts with this dive in the bottom lane. It's a slow start, but it kicks things off.
And just watch how crazy this is. I think that Kingzone's bot lane could have backed off. They did see the Sejuani coming, but that's the speed of the rotation coming in. We've seen this being done so many times by Rogue Warriors squad, and that's why I don't think the Anivia was such a great pick. BDD individually, great player. You give it up priority.
And ultimately, it was just a call from Doinby at that point because both mid laners were basing. You could see the Anivia coming back from base, and the same thing was happening in Kled. It was just his call that he found his opening, and he sacrificed some tower HP, but what you get is a full bottom lane dive when Kingzone are not backing away. So that's a hell of a lot of, I guess, a plus for you on that
And
one.
we see so many of these calls from Doinby over the course of the game when he just activates super carry mode. There's a reason that he's known as super carry Doinby. In between 2 tier 2 turrets when both of the outers are still up, and he decides to chase down these kills.
Yeah, it was funny too, because immediately the moment he sees the Morgana throwing the Q, he finds a new axis to the fight. So sure, he gets the Morgana, he's behind the turret then, and it's basically saving Private Ryan, except no one's coming to save him. There's another fight on the other end. So that's how hectic Rogue Warriors fights can be.
Yeah, and I have to call it Gorilla right there. He didn't know the second phase of the joust could follow him around, and Mouse not playing this fight to the optimal situation as well. But this is what Rogue Warriors do to you. This is what you do with the full bruiser composition. You run in so often and so hard, so ferocious, that I think Kingzone left themselves go with the craziness, and they got bit by it.
And that was exactly what ended up costing Kingzone. When they were prepped at the Baron, they got backed into a corner, decided to back away, and tried to find that fight against Flawless on the Sejuani flank. But again, Doinby comes in with the massive charge, I think from his tier 2, catches prey and solo kills him.
That's what's so fun about this, because he calls out where it's going to end up coming. Prey doesn't see it coming, boom, right on top of him. No protection, so he dies immediately. And even though it's just that one kill and the rest are moving aside, it's just you already see how difficult it is for the AD carry and what the comp is actually looking to do. So while the Morgana is great for the protection, this man is looking for your head. Doinby gets the man of the match, 82% kill participation, always looking for the flank.
Protect your neck against Doinby right here because he's definitely hunting for it. Plays the side lane so well as well. We have seen the Kled a lot of the times, and the Frozen Mallet too was just to get a side lane pushing. I'm really disappointed in Kingzone. I don't think they played as well as they could with their picks. They drafted super safe just to counter people.
Yeah, and this is where we have to talk about it turning almost into a self-fulfilling prophecy for Kingzone, coming out clutch in these last international events and now in these fights. But Rogue Warriors, they thrive in the chaos as Super Carry Doinby again finds prey in the back.
Right on top of him. And this is what it comes back to initially while we were moving to the game. The reason why I voted for this team, for Rogue Warriors to take the win, was simply because you were talking about it. They can ride on the emotion. They're a team that when they're on the biggest stage, they actually overperform.
That's true.
We didn't think they were going to be a third-place team in the LPL. We thought Invictus Gaming were going to be way above them, and we thought they were going to fall out. But they were on the largest stage, and in a best-of-5, overperformed. Because they have a lot of faults, but it doesn't matter if they can put you in these hectic fights. Kingzone are the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Do not do well under the spotlight. Do not do well under the lights. And so Kingzone really need to figure that out when they go back towards the LCK, because LCK do not have enough confidence to put them back in Game 5.
Well, speaking of which, that Game 5 is now upon us. It had to be this way. There was no other way Rift Rivals could have ended. Ladies and gentlemen, it's RNG versus the Freak of Freaks just after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.